Re-Animator by Everything Everything. It is 11 songs long, 45 minutes long, came out on September 11. And so I mainly point that out because 9/11 was an inside job. No, because we didn't review this when it came out immediately. So sometimes albums kind of flow back into the theme of things as we can do them. So everything's really interesting. They're again like they're in that synth pop genre, but what is synth pop? It's more like synth alternative.
Yeah, but they're almost like that bridge between kind of like R&B alternative, like that little bridge between those two, because they do that bump step, as I like to call it, where it's, you know, combining the two basically.
Yeah. We use the term like Franz Ferdinand, and sometimes I don't even know what we're describing, because I guess a lot of artists articulate this, but it's a Franz Ferdinand like style in that it's like alternative rock and synth pop with like attitude.
And then they do Bon Iver's voice, or try to do Bon Iver's voice without doing it, which is my big critique. I hate when bands or whatever vocalists sing falsetto when their falsetto is shit.
Yeah.
Because it's just really, really obvious and annoying. Because I like Bon Iver's music, but sometimes his voice even irks me, where it's like, can you do something else? And that was a big thing in this album, where it's kind of that high-pitched vocal that was going out, that airy hipster-ash vocal that they do a lot of artists do, that if done right is very good. If done wrong, it's a nuisance.
But it's the kind of vocal you can tell that like this took 10 tries in the studio. This isn't, you're not going to get the sound live.
I can't think of his name, the lead singer Fleet Foxes says, you can fake a guitar solo, but you can't fake a voice, and goddamn, he is right. Robin Pecknold, I got it.
That's the one.
So
Pecknold? Pecknold,
okay. Whatever. Mr. Robin. Let's keep
Mr. Robin's Neighborhood.
Robin's Neighborhood. That's the perfect point, though. You can fake certain things. You can fake instrumentation in a way, but with the voice you can't. And that was I actually like the Instrumentation's album a lot. It's just the vocals were really I don't know, they irked me. Like Planets, I thought like the actual lyrics and everything to it was pretty cool. The instrumentation was cool, but just don't do falsetto for the whole fucking song.
It's like that part, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like the whole thing going over. Like Tom York can barely do falsetto, but that's because that's all his voice has left.
And like there's a certain characteristic to some singers and the way their voice ages when they're doing lighter things. Damon Albarn, not hitting those high notes anymore. Very little. He usually has a backup choir to do that, or he this is the song where he's not running around and dancing on stage like an idiot. This is the song where he's sitting down at the piano, where he's able to like take hits off the ventilator real quick before he's able to really sing that note out. Because it's, I mean, falsetto is, and there's a study that how like falsetto, this really, really high note of singing, was really popular in like the 70s and 80s along with disco.
Oh, you could hear that for sure.
Yeah, fell
Earth,
down.
Wind and Fire, you could.
Yeah, absolutely. There, yeah. And Michael Jackson's like the big sort of vestige of that took it to pop. Then you sort of had like sort of a decrease with that to the 90s.
90s and then, with grunge, and the polar opposite.
Yeah, resurgence of the falsetto voice in the early aughts with like B.O.B. and all those. And now it's just a thing where like, it's just assumed that every frontman is going to do like some falsetto thing for their hook, as though like it sounds better. And I think you can sure do that, but A, you're going to get a lot of people who sound really shitty when they're doing their falsetto.
It's very, very difficult to do and to control.
And B, you're going to end up, if everyone's shooting for the sound, then everyone's going to sound the same.
As another thing I like to say on Audioface is, you know how 21 Savage does his little spoken word thing, which he very rarely does. He does that on purpose because he can do it in a song or two, but if you keep doing it over and over again, then it loses its effect. Yeah. Like example, Arch Enemy is a good song for the first half. The second half, like the chorus and stuff, it goes back up to that falsetto and just gets distracting. So it's just something that I couldn't escape. So musicality of it, production is solid. It's actually very cohesive as an album. All the songs flow together pretty well. I like the lyrics on it. It's just that.
Yeah, I can get you with that. Like, I think it would have benefited from like backup vocalists or something
either
else.
Either that, or you just change the or you just change the notes within the vocals. I mean, it's not something, because within the musicality of it, it wasn't like they were playing Sigur Rós where like you can only do falsetto in it because that's what fits in the music. Yeah. But you could do so many other things within it, because they're very, like, you could tell they're talented. Like, they have a lot of stuff that they could do within it. So it's just something that I think is going to pull them back.
But I can tell, especially with Arch Enemy, which was one of my favorite songs from this album, particularly, like, especially in that second part we're referencing, he wants to, like, or at least they want to produce that part with, like, the chorus needs to have better delivery that second go around the first time around. So I'm saying you could do that with vocal layering. You can do that with a number of different ways that, and the vocal layering can include like having a choir, having just like a higher singer, backup singer to help with that. So you create some sort of depth in that second chorus delivery. And we're kind of on the same page here. I'm just thinking if I were in the room producing music with these people, it's like these are the things I would be leading them to, as opposed to going it on alone with the falsetto, because it's very hard to do, right? Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's something that it's like my favorite thing, which is the boom, clap, snap. It's almost like that where a lot of artists are keeping doing it. It's almost like when a couple of alternative bands in the mid-10s started putting trap snare in their stuff. It's just stuff that it's almost like a fad that a lot of white hipster dudes love to do for alternative, and you'll still hear it a little bit, but hopefully it'll start to die down a bit, because it's unless you know how to do it, unless you do it right, it's very distracting. But over my critique, it's a decent album. I did actually enjoy it with the musicality, with everything else. I really like the instrumentation. I like the infusion of that pop and B plus alternative plus synth alternative, kind of like mixing a bunch of sounds into it. There's a lot of good production in it where it's all like there's a couple bands who have tried it before this year, but I think they almost nailed it to within that sound for the early 20s now. Where I think if alternative kind of goes into this direction, it's not a bad thing. I think it's a good thing to experiment with it and improve upon it, do a little bit more, obviously the vocals, and then some more of the production of getting in hooks or whatever you want to just put in more. I think it's good. But
wow, Sean, this looks like the introduction to our synth pop is dead conversation.
Synth pop is dead. Right.
I don't want to levy that on everything in future
I'm a name dog levy. I'm gonna kick it every time it rains.
I'm going to put a pin in that conversation because I need to tell you something off air. This is hilarious. But anyways,
getting up political leaders is our Jesus Christ. It's arbitrary scale. Oh my God. This is Jesus Christ.
Wait. I'm yes. This is the Augusto Pinochet in Chile. Back when his former helicopter pilot admitted several times that he threw political prisoners out of the helicopter.
That's right.
Just into the ocean.
Whoa.
I'm sorry, anytime you add a and maybe this is just me, but like anytime you add a helicopter to something, you
just
mean
like
absolute
beautiful,
business.
right?
Like when you're shooting feral hogs from a helicopter,
This is Hillary Clinton cackling that Muammar Gaddafi got Gaddafi'd.
we came, he saw, he got stabbed in the ass.
Yeah, that's what this album is, because that laugh is the falsetto. I'm sorry, everything. Y'all are a decent band. Like,
yeah, that's the thing.
I'm not hating on it.
It's the same with Future Islands.
Yeah,
It's like
I'm
y'all
not
are
hating
decent.
on
It's
you.
just that there are, as someone who is a synth pop fan, someone who really likes this genre, I am very concerned with the way that some of the bands are sort of just like handling it, especially some of the ones who did it really well a decade ago. And I'm seeing enough new taking it forward. I mean, Gorillaz, that Song Machine is a whole like different thing with how synth pop has evolved. But I'm seeing the evolution going right in some ways, and I'm seeing it fall short in other ways, and that's really disappointing. But yeah, that's that.